Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eichenberry in real life, and welcome to another show for the Kickstarter campaign of Neosland, the game where you and I are designing it. It's a medieval fantasy and giant MMO, and I am happy to be here. Welcome back, everyone. We've got Jacques and we've got Evil with us. Evil's the one on camera right now. He is so evil that it scares us when he shows us his face. So,
Here I thought it was my voice unfiltered.
oh no. Yeah, well, anyway, I won't get into my my devil voice. So, Jacques, welcome back to another episode, and so. We've got some questions. So last episode we kind of talked about a little bit about what the game is about, how it's being developed, and everything. And now we've got a bunch of questions coming in, and so it looks as though one of the popular things is housing. And let's see here.
We didn't talk about that at all.
No. Let's see. This looks like it's from Mega Alex. Or, no, it's posted by somebody else. I can't tell who this is posted by, but first question is, so will it be housing, with the housing, will there be land for everyone, or will all the houses eventually be gone?
Well, it depends, right? If you say land for everyone, is he meaning, like anybody can just buy land? I mean, there is definitely going to be the world's going to have some size limit, right, at some point, right? I mean, even on planet Earth, we only have X amount of land available, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes,
so we either have to build up or build down after that.
Exactly. There's definitely going to be some limitations on the amount of land that's available for everybody at some point, right? And also, it's you don't want to keep. I mean, we don't want to keep adding in land, for people to build on as we go along. Too much. Otherwise, it crashes the market, right? It's like a normal house market in real life as well, right? We're looking at all the stuff like that, and so I wouldn't say, depending on how many people play, right? If we have a lot of people, there might not be enough land for everybody. So. Yeah, and if we have less people, there'll be a lot of lands for everybody. So it's a hard question to answer, actually.
Will so let's just say that I support the Kickstarter campaign, which I did. I actually was number one supporter. I kept refreshing the recently launched page on Kickstarter until it showed. And so yes, I got mine in first. I'm proud of that. And with mine, I think that I get some sort of land. Actually, I didn't look. I just looked at how much money I had to spend and just did that. So let's just say I have land. And what if my house, I don't really need that much land. And so let's just say I get, 20 squares of land or whatever, and really my house is just taking up 4 squares, and I have a little bit of yard, so I have like 15 squares left over, something like that. Can I then sell that other property to another player?
Yeah, you certainly can. Like the property so far, I mean, it all goes around, like anything we say here might change depending on the community, right? It's all about the community and what they want. But so far, we're looking at it, you definitely be able to sell each grid size of land that you want, right? So you can sell that off if you want to, or if you, say for instance, you bought this one, but it's not enough for you and you needed more, you can certainly buy additional grids as well, in the game, or so on. So you can increase it or decrease it depending on what you want, right? So yeah, we definitely, it's whatever you want. Like the reason we built it also with a grid system, it's not like your normal MMO games that's out there where you have a piece of land and it's a square block or whatever, and that's it, right? And you place a template of a house down, and that's it. With this system, you can literally build the walls and stuff like that. So you can make a elongated house, you can make it a T house, you can do whatever you want to the design. So you can do also with the grids what you want to buy. You can buy whatever you want.
Now, if the land that I have, let's say that I do want to make my house bigger, or now I'm making more money in the game, and so I can afford more land. And so if that land is available, then I might just be able to buy it just straight from the market or whatever. Would that be right? I mean, like I don't know. Would it be like buying it from the government or something like that, as opposed to maybe somebody else owns it too, and then I'd have to buy it from that player and negotiate with them.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends. Like all the land is obviously going to be owned by us right from the start, right? So you'll be buying it from us, right? And then from there on, it'll be a question of trading with other players and getting it from them, or we're going to have towns and stuff like that put in place, right? Like as you build a community up in a certain area, it can become a town and then a city and so on. And with that, we will be allocating. We're looking at allocating some land, to the city itself, as it goes up, to increase the population and stuff. But then that will actually correspond with the city, the mayor, whoever is running the city, the city will have that land, and then you'll start buying it from there. Like we want to put a system in place where we can allow growth, without us having a lot of input ourselves, right?
So it's really like a player-run economy.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Now, can we buy up every single square of land in the world? Can it be all owned by somebody?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, when I say that any squares that's available, right? We at this point, but I mean things can change over the future, right? But at this point, we're looking at the grid system, and we're not opening up. Like if you look at the land, there won't be grids everywhere to buy. Like you can't. If you look at the ranch, and you can't just flood the whole land with whatever buildings and stuff for different reasons, right? We want to keep some nature areas, we want to keep different sections, to make it look decent, right? Otherwise, we just have a bunch of buildings everywhere, and then the game looks
it'd be just
like that, right?
It'd be just like U.S. and Canada. We have like our national parks, and everything, and so these are spaces that are reserved for wildlife, or they might be reserved in game for wild monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
maybe the wild monsters are preserving the land for themselves.
Oh yes,
because
that's an even better idea.
Owning every tile and controlling every tile is two totally different things.
There we go. Right, that's correct.
Yeah. See, and this is something that we have not fully fleshed out and everything. And like Evil here, he is one of the people who's been at most every one of the shows. So we asked him here today, and. But Evil is not a developer. Evil is
not even close.
Evil is, well, not even his real name. Yeah, so he's just been here helping out with his suggestions and has had really good suggestions and everything. And this is part of the brainstorming that happens to create the game. And so. That's an interesting thought that we hadn't even thought about before, which is that maybe every piece of land is owned, but they're maybe zoned differently, like one is forest land, or, that it's owned by the monsters or whatever, or we've talked about like wood elves, really managing the resources in forests and stuff like that and being really anal about it. And that's not necessarily a player race. That is a NPC, type of thing. Although maybe there'll be people role playing that too. I don't know.
Yeah, let's not go there.
What? You don't have elf ears on under that hood?
No. Frickin' elves.
Oh, it begins.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's just some of the basics of housing. There is so much more about housing to go off of, but
and we've discussed a lot of it.
Yeah, and Evil I think plans on building probably the largest castle he can and the tallest towers and
deepest dungeon,
and it'll be really fun to watch when he builds this high-ass tower, and it can't hold it under the weight, and it collapses.
Hey,
I think that's
one of the things they teach you in Evil Overlord School is always, always, always use steel reinforcement.
Oh, I see. Well, the problem is it's medieval times.
All right. Solid stone.
I want to build just basically like a car dealership, but just sell like horse and carriages.
Oh, wow, that's a great idea.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Okay, and everyone, this is Santos, who is the also known as Saint. He is the community manager for Marquee Dragon, and is one of the main people to get in touch with if you have a fan site or you're a streamer and want to get involved, YouTuber, so on. So, okay, Evil, do we have any other questions ready to go here?
Well, there is a question about the Atavism engine and the midware. Does that mean that the MMO development depends on a piece of server software midware that is not there yet? And then they go on to talk about developing an MMO is a tough story on its own. Hence, I wonder whether the underlying midware has also yet been developed before the MMO itself can be completed. And I think Jacques already answered that in the last session when he was talking about atavism.
Mm-hmm.
If you could expand on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we've been working on the engine for, like I said, a while now, a couple of years. So we developed it in a way that from the basics, you can add in additional plugins and stuff like that. So the engine is pretty much done right now. So it's not a question of we're waiting on the engine before we can develop the MMO. Like you can see, it's already in action. We've showed some videos of it in action and stuff like that. All we're doing at the moment is adding in additional plugins into it, to depending on what features people are looking for, And I mean, we can release the engine now if we wanted to, but the only thing is, we won't have like a lot of basic plugins already in it, for developers to use. So developing this game is also helping us adding those additional plugins into the engine, to make sure that we have something for people that want to build a MMO game right off the bat, right? So they don't have to still figure out their own stuff, So I don't think you could say it's not done yet, but it is actually done in the fact that the back end of it's already done, right? Mm-hmm. It's all we're doing now is just adding in additional things to make it polish and look nice, right?
Mm-hmm. So you're putting the paint on the car, but the car's already built.
Basically, yes.
You're adding the bling.
So what you're saying is you already have a usable product that other developers can take and use.
Yeah. It's just depending on when we want to release it, and the fact that if we want to polish it. But that being said, also everybody should know, right? Any game, MMO game or engine or anything like that, it's never done developed. It's a continuous thing, right? You continue updating it, you continue adding new things into it, right? You're making it better. So there is no, it's done now type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be a work in progress forever.
Forever, yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as it's still useful, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Saint, did you have one coming up?
Yes, I had a question here from Kaz, K-O-Z. He would like to know how exactly is the skill system going to work in terms of combat, and will we have some sort of energy or mana pool to draw from, or will it be based on cooldowns?
See, that's a hard question to answer, actually, because the biggest thing is we've only did our first roundtable of skills, I think maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, not long ago. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff still to be fleshed out on that with the community, So basically all I can say is mostly, how do you want it to work, right? You tell us. You come to roundtables and say, this is what you like, and we look at it and then we implement it, right? That's how the system works, right? So
beyond just PvP, though, the skill system as it's designed right now is that your character never quits learning. In like Ultima Online, you had like 700 skill points, and if you hit 100 in one of the skills, you then became like a Grandmaster Swordsman or something like that. And you may hit the current top levels of swordsmanship or whatever, but it's a continual process of learning. And there's some other games, an example of that is EVE Online, that these skills continue and continue and continue. And so part of it is based on time, and part of it is based on usage. And so this is what we've discussed and what we've come up with in the roundtable so far. But it's up to Jacques and his team to then implement these things. So you guys have said yes to some of it, and some of it you've been quiet on. And so tell us how skills are going to work kind of in general.
Well, at the moment, or what we're looking at, getting it from Roundtable too, is we've got a system in place at the moment where you basically learn a skill, right? And you get books also. You can learn the skills faster, So usually what we do is we listen to a Roundtable, and we see how we could maybe possibly get this implemented into the system, that it makes sense, right? To do the same thing. And one of the things that you guys wanted to talk about was if you log off, right, and you're close to, say, a bunch of books in a library or stuff like that, you can take a book of a certain skill and then be able to learn it, right? So there's two sides that we are looking at this. One will be usage, because you're going to use the skill, so you have to have a learning curve on using it. And then another one would be learning the skill, right? Like developing it further.
Yes.
So let's take a basic skill like blacksmithing, for instance, right? We also am looking at implementing this into combat somehow. So if you're a blacksmith, we don't want you to be able to have no combat skills at all, right? So we're thinking, say for instance, you take a skill of blacksmithing, you have a certain amount of points that you go up in tiers, right? Say tier 1 or tier 4, right? And then to get to that tier, you have to learn that skill, right? So you'll take a book and you'll learn it, or find another way of learning it. And then once you have that learning tier, say you got it to tier 1, which is 10 points, you start using blacksmithing and doing it, you gain points in it as well. So now you'll gain points. When you reach, say for instance, tier 4 of it, like you gained like 36 points or 42 points or whatever in it using it, then it opens up maybe a ability for you to use in combat or whatever, right? So now you'll have this ability opened up, and say for instance for combat, you might be able to use that on a set of armor which is strong, and if you use that ability, it might find a weakness in the armor, and then be able to do more damage to the player, right? So it's going to be very interesting how people use the system. Maybe if we go with this, like I say, this is just what we've been thinking of. So we'll be doing more roundtables to see how the community likes it. But instead of just having a blacksmith and you're just learning to craft stuff, you'll also be learning to do a little bit of combat stuff. So you can combine it with some combat also to make yourself a very flexible type of character.
I suppose too, if you're a master blacksmith and then you're wielding a sword that you've made, that you may have better carnal knowledge of that sword and how it should be used, and that may provide some sort of bonus and everything.
Yeah, it can increase maybe your swordsmanship or stuff like that, right?
Or the durability.
Yeah. And we want to put in a lot of skills also, like we want to have a wide range of stuff. And also because what we're doing with the learning is skills will be a time thing, right? So you can't just go and quickly level this up by doing it a lot of times or something like that, because it's all included in time, So as time goes by, then you'll become cleverer and know more what you're doing, in things that make sense, right? So that's how we're looking at it.
Yeah. So, okay, and with that note, we will be continuing to, as the development goes on, Jacques and his team hand us subjects. Either we have really hot subjects that we want to talk about, or Jacques will, and I will talk, and we end up with the subject that's important to the next phase of development. And as we continue to go, like with the skills stuff, we've talked about skill basics, we've talked about skills as they apply to like blacksmithy and stuff like that, and we'll keep, redefining, making all of the definitions much more precise and everything as we go, and it'll be when we're done, it'll be a very robust system. So, and I think it'll offer us a lot of opportunity. So anyway, I'm excited about it. Personally, I love character development, and so the fact that my character is going to be able to learn forever in the game is something that I continually improve on my character. And so it's not like in World of Warcraft, when I hit level whatever, I say, okay, I'm done till the next expansion. you know, because I hit it, and really that's actually the fun part of the game for me. Along with the community, we go out and do things, but I feel like if I'm going out and doing things and I've already learned everything I can learn, then it's just kind of a waste of time unless it's just something that just happens to be fun. So, yeah. Okay. Have we got...
Next question.
Yeah. What's up next?
Okay. Dracotar asked the question, will the land cost in-game cash or real-life cash?
Ooh.
So what we're looking at for that, is we have a real life cash, right, system for the land, but also we wanted to make it available for the few players, that's playing the big game. I don't know if you know how a subscription system works, where you can buy a subscription because it's going to be a subscription played game. So you can buy a subscription with real cash, or you can buy it with in-game currency from another player. Mm-hmm. So it's so that being said, there could be some players that plays the game a lot that won't put any money into it as such, but that they'll keep adding to the community, by means of being there always, developing certain things and playing. So we wanted to reward them too, and so we have both a free-to-play system and a pay-to-play system. And with that said,
but none of them have an advantage over each other, do they?
No,
it's all equal.
Exactly the same.
Yes,
all equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, say for instance, you wanted to get some land, and you don't want to you don't have the money to put in. We want to put a system in place where some land can be bought with in-game currency as well, and also being traded and stuff like that. So we still have to fine-tune the system, but I would say at this point, there would be in-game cash for land as well as real currency for land. It just depends how we want to fine-tune it, and also, to make sure that people don't just buy land with in-game currency the whole time, and then the people that spend money into with real cash, has a problem, right, with that. So.
Mm-hmm. So in essence, the funding into the game, this is a really interesting point, which hasn't been asked about yet, but I want to mention it, which is that the game will cost something to start. Is that right? Is it going to have some sort of cost to get the game?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so we buy the game. It may come with 30 days of play or whatever to start with, and then in that 30 days, let's say that you really don't have as much time to play as what you would like. Whatnot, you can pay for your subscription, and you can buy another 30 days for whatever the cost is. Or if you're really proficient in the game and everything, you can turn around and you can pay with in-game currency to another player and do an exchange where they give you a 30-day subscription for that in-game currency. And so it allows people who are really good in the game to play for free, and people who don't have as much time to play or don't have as many resources yet or whatever can buy the subscriptions, and then if they want more cash in the game, more gold or whatever the currency may be, then they can sell those subscription codes to the other players, and they can build their evil dungeon empire at an accelerated pace.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, so it's going to be a little mixture of both. And there's one other thing, Jacques, about the land. Some of these packages come with land, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and with the packages that come with land, now I think that it's proposed that there's going to be some sort of taxes on the land. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, and so the taxes are, so you'll have to be earning enough in the game. The purchase of the land is the big deal, but then there's some maintenance, like with in-game currency or whatever.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And so the if that maintenance is not kept up, then it can the land can go back to the state, or it'll go back to the township. The governance, the local governance, whatever. Yeah. And I kind of forget where I was going with this, but
they would either resell it or keep it based on
yes.
Whether it's NPC controlled or PC controlled.
Yeah, and you can sell off your own stuff as well. So
The main, sorry, I just want to pop in here. The main reason we did taxes and stuff, basically the main reason for that is the fact that we don't want houses to be standing empty around, you know, like, and then you go into a place and there's just a bunch of houses and nobody's playing it if people
You don't want to ghost
around,
town.
right? Yeah, we don't want that, right? So because like we said, there is going to be a limit on land, right? So we want to make it sure that if the land is there, that it's being used, right? It mustn't be just not being used at all.
So one other question would be for like people who are in the military and whatnot, who get a chance to play for like a week and then they're gone, they're deployed for 3 weeks or whatnot. This is common for U.S. military when they're deployed. Will there be systems in place to where they can, have the assets there ahead of time so that their land will all be safe and or whatnot, and they can plan for that ahead of
definitely.
time?
Yeah, definitely, right? Like, but also, we want to put in some system, like, I don't know, we were talking about this on one roundtable, about this, you guys were talking about it, and maybe getting a friend to visit, like, a time, like, every time, not just paying the taxes, but also having some activity in that specific house, right? Getting somebody to visit. I mean, and that could even be somebody trying to steal your house and stuff, right? So
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. Well, we have a bit, but okay. Okay.
There's a few things we're looking at, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're out of time on this episode, so we will come back shortly with the next episode and continue on. And in fact, Jacques, if it's okay with you, next episode we'll talk about the rewards on Kickstarter. Does that sound good?
That sounds good, yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back, everybody.